Hey everyone, I want to talk about tools. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to create our new design file. So I'm going to click that button. It's going to pop open that new tab. I'm just going to call this one test for now. Now I'm going to show you a bit about Figma and all the different things you have going on over here. So over here, we just have the tabs. So these give you like a quick overview of what you have open. You could have multiple tabs open. Up here is the toolbar. So let's start from the left. This is going to be your menu. And your menu is going to have a lot of different interesting things in here. You're going to be able to see quick actions. So if you like using quick actions, you can click that and say, I'm going to search for plugins. So I can go and search plugins in the community. Really great way to see what you have available to you. You can also see different types of settings for like your file, the ability to edit, view. I would say the majority of these you may not be touching. You may touch them once and then just leave it. I think one of the biggest things that is really helpful here is going into the help and account and going to keyboard shortcuts, which is going to pop open a shortcut tab right at the bottom based off of your system that you're using. And it'll help you think about, well, how do I access something like, the pen tool, and, how do I make select all for MacBooks. For a Mac OS, it's going to be Command A versus Control A. So, you're going to be able to get all that information right within the app, which is super helpful. So I'm just going to close that right now. So that's the menu. This is where you're going to access your tools. So we have our basic tools up here. We have Move and your Scale tool. We have your Frame tool. Now I'm going to go into these a bit deeper later, but these are where you're going to get your frame tool. Frames are where you're going to draw essentially your canvas. You're going to draw things on the frame. It's like the canvas or your artboard, whatever you would like to call it, but in Figma, they're called frames. So we have our frame and slicing tool. Frame is probably the most important. Then we have our shapes, and this is where you can come in and make some great shapes if you're making logos, if you're just using shapes for just interest on your web page, or whether it's like a mobile app or something. This is where you'll come to use your shapes, and they have the shortcuts on the right. So you have your rectangle, you have your line, arrow, ellipse, polygon, star, and you can place your image here as well. This is your pen tool, which is really helpful if you're making custom shapes. I love the pen tool. We have the text tool. This is really helpful if you need to write something. Text tool is going to be your friend. So that's the text tool. And we have the hand tool for moving things around. Really helpful for moving around selections and not clicking into them. And then we have the comment tool. So one great thing Figma does is they have this onboarding tutorial system. So when you sign in for the first time, they're going to run you through everything. You'll also see certain things for new tools and whatnot. So that is really helpful. So I'm just going to close that. So we have our comments. You can just leave a comment when you click on that tool. So I have a comment here. I'm going to just write, hey, great work. And then press enter, and that comment is stored. And you can move comments around. It's really great, and you can keep track of them over here. Then you have things like contextual tools. So let's say I have a rectangle. I'm going to make a copy of that rectangle using Command C. You can use Control C if you're on Windows, and then Command or Control V. And then I have that copy. So you can see that over here in the layers panel. So if I have, two different rectangles, I can see my contextual tools. So over here you have components. This is a little advanced, so I'm not going to really talk about components too much right now. We have masking. Masking essentially allows you to create shapes and hide different aspects of other shapes. So you can use the masking tool there. And we also have Boolean tools as well. So I'm going to actually select both of these. And you have these Boolean operations. So you can create a union, subtract. So if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to subtract, and it's taken a chunk out. So a lot of cool things up there in the contextual tools. Aside from that, you do have the file settings over here, whether you want to see the version history, you want to publish components, you want to rename it, you want to move it to a new project or another project, delete it or favorite the file, you can do that all within here. This is where you can access the project it was in. So ours was in drafts and I clicked drafts. I'm going to go back. So that's what I clicked over there. And over here on the right side, you have some of your share and view settings. You'll see the different people that are in this file when they're in here as little avatar bubbles. You'll be able to click the share button and get into all the nitty-gritty ways to share, whether that's with, anyone with a link can view. This is how you're going to get your files. You're going to get them as viewable files, like I said. You can also just invite people manually. You can let them edit. And that is how you would just grab the link. You could also play prototypes. So if I were to make a frame, I'm going to press F to make that frame. So if I have a little iPhone 13 mini, I'm going to just put that there and just drag one of my text layers on here. And I'm just going to place that there for now. So this is just my design. I know it's great. And if I press play, it's going to open up that prototyping tab for us. And you'll be able to see your prototype. You can link together prototypes and they'll show up there. So that is essentially how you would play a prototype. If you want to get into the zoom and view settings, you can do that here as well. You can customize what you see, and you can customize basically how you see it. You'll see like all the shortcuts here for zooming in and out and how to access some of these view options. And that is the toolbar.